Park România, fani de pretutindeni, la mulți ani, 15 ani astăzi de când am început acest proiect de suflet. Nu vine să cred că am ajuns la această performanță și totuși îmi vine să cred, pentru că știu că am pus foarte mult suflet și multă pasiune în această comunitate și atât eu cât și fondatorul Coldfire, el a început pe 14 mai 2005. Acest proiect era un site, un simplu site și cu un forum pe care s-au strâns primii membri ai comunității. Povesteam acolo vechi și uscate ce visam noaptea despre Linkin Park. Oricum visul tuturor era să vină băieții în România să cânte, să aibă un concert aici și, cum bine știți, s-a împlinit după 7 ani de așteptare de când am fondat comunitatea în 2012, pe 6 iunie. Că a venit vorba de concert, o să începem această ediție specială a vlogului Backstagers cu un interviu cu Sam Herrington. Este head carpenterul băieților de la Linkin Park, a fost pentru mai multe turnee și o să-l avem în curând live aici pe ecranul din partea stângă, cred că la voi, sau dreaptă. Așa. Apoi vom continua cu fani Linkin Park din România care vor intra în direct cu noi. Sunt câțiva care au o pasiune pe care și-au descoperit-o datorită trupei și la fel cineva care a fost de la începuturi alături de noi. De asemenea, vă lansez o întrebare la care sper să primesc cât mai multe răspunsuri în comentarii. Le voi citi la final răspunsurile voastre. Întrebarea este: ce credeți că ține loiali fanii unei trupe? De ce credeți că am fost 15 ani alături de Linkin Park și alții de 20 de ani, să zicem? Ce-i face pe fani să rămână alături de o trupă pentru atât de mult timp? Sunt curioasă să aflu părerile voastre. Acum o să mă mut în engleză un pic, să fac o introducere ca să înțeleagă și cei care ne privesc de peste hotare. So, I'm switching to English right now, so anyone can understand, because I know that many are watching from abroad. Happy birthday, Linkin Park, Romania. I hope you all see me well and hear me well, because somebody said that something is not working. Please confirm in the comments that it works well. Okay. Today we're celebrating 15 years, and I'm so super happy and super proud of this community because it grew so big, and it's unbelievable, but at the same time I do believe that this is happening because we put so much passion and so much love into this project, growing it with ourselves. I was 14 years old when all started. That in 2005 we started this community, myself and a very good friend of mine called Coldfire. We put so much love into this, and we had a forum and a website where we would share things about the band with other fans. And the biggest dream of everyone was to see Linkin Park live in Romania, preferably. That happened luckily on June 6th, 2012, and I am super super grateful for that. Our first guest is someone very special who attended the show, but not just like he's not a fan, he's part of the crew. Actually, his name is Sam Herrington, and I will bring them in shortly. But first of all, I want to tell you the theme of all of this discussion tonight. It is what keeps loyal fans to a band for so long, in our case 15 years. Let me know your answers in the comments, and I will read them afterwards. Okay, so now, are you ready for Sam? Because I'm bringing in him. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Diana. How's it going?
Oh, it's fine over here. Quarantine like everyone else.
Yeah. Welcome to Texas.
Oh,
welcome to Austin.
Austin, Texas. Nice. What time is it there right now?
It's a little after noon time. Mm-hmm. So high noon.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm so happy to see you again. I think the last time we
met, to see you.
The last time we met,
I love the theme of the show. I can only say that I've been touring for 25 plus years, and I can guarantee you that of all the bands I've worked with, Linkin Park was definitely the most caring and loving towards their fans. So I think that is reflected in their fan base. And it was always really obvious. One of the things that I did for them during shows was run a video camera. And it was my favorite part of the day because I got to go into the barricade with all the craziest fans.
The front rowers.
And of course, they went all the way to the back of the stadium, but there was always a lot of love up there, always a lot of noise and a lot of familiar faces. It was great to get to know fans by name, and I remain today great friends with a lot of those people. So the fans, were so important to them.
Yeah, we could feel that from day one. As many know, Linkin Park was one of the first bands in the world to engage in a so direct way with their fans. I mean, I remember at the very beginning they were sending demos personally through posts, and they would hang out until the venues would get the venue security would get them out with the fans. They would just hang to chat with them and engage, and starting Linkin Park Underground.
Exactly.
Starting Linkin Park
Drive their security guys crazy.
Oh yes. I remember there were all sorts of rules at MNGs, meet and greets. Everyone was telling no just handshakes or no photos, no nothing. And usually Chester would be the one who would go all the way in and hug everyone and be so close to everyone. And that's one of the reasons why he was so super special.
And he was a special guy, yeah, for sure.
Good-hearted. Yes. So you tell us, how did you start working with Linkin Park?
How I started working? I had taken 5 years off of touring to be a dad after my son was born. Mm-hmm. And my first tour out of the box, my wife finally got tired of me being around the house and said, get out there and do what you love to do. So, yay. I did some weird little tour with Kiss, and I was somewhere in New York City, and the stage manager, Ethan, one of my really good friends that I used to build the big steel scaffolding stages with, mm-hmm. called and said, hey, you working? And I said, I'm in a cab going into the city to do something. I forget what. He said, interested in doing a tour with me? And I'm like, sure, what is it? And he said, Linkin Park. Wow. And I immediately said, absolutely. I had bumped into Linkin Park on the Family Values tour, mm-hmm. a year, sometime before then. They were one of the opening bands. And Mike came to me one day with this amazing architectural drawing of their tour bus and what he wanted to convert it to. And I was just blown away. I'm like, where did you get this drawing? And he's like, I did it. And I said, you drew this? And he goes, yeah, think you can do it? And I'm like, I'll try. So I had some interactions with those guys before, and they have always been the most accessible and the most kind artists I've ever encountered, really. So when Ethan offered me the job, I was like, yeah, sure. And we started in New Orleans in rehearsal, and I did the next 7 years, I think, with them. So
you are down for 3 tours, right? World tours.
3 or 4 world tours. Okay. I forget what the first one was. It was a big, dopey cumbersome stage with big lifts in it and stuff.
Probably 1,000 Suns. Probably 1,000 Suns.
Probably so. Yeah.
Because you came to Romania during Living Things. That was during the cycle back then. Okay.
And it was so interesting to see their progression, because 1,000 Suns to me was a really fast-moving show. It was really big and loud, and they just continued to evolve. And by the end, they were doing some really progressive stuff. I thought that I was just blown away. I was like, well, it's more like soundtracks. I mean, it's so involved, technically and instrumentally involved. And I thought, are we doing a soundtrack tour now? And I remember wondering how this is going to play out on tour. And of course, it was amazing. Always, it was always just so on time and very innovative and very engaging. And of course, Mike and Chester were all of that too. They just really brought the fans in. I always felt so.
Yeah, they sounded
cool people to work with.
Definitely. They sounded so like on the album. I mean, if you wouldn't see that they are live over there and feeling it coming out of their mouths, you'd say that it's the album. That kind of perfection were their shows.
It's amazing, and I've always felt that that's always been the true test of good musicians is how do they sound live? I remember I did a Lollapalooza tour with Smashing Pumpkins, and they were awful live. They were terrible live, and I loved them as a band. But man, they would get on stage and just blow it, and I'm just shocked and amazed. There are some bands that can pull it off, and some really can't.
Mm-hmm. So you said that you've been with them at the rehearsals as well, as part of the job, obviously. How were the rehearsals going on? How are they over there?
They can be very intense. Like the production manager, Jim Digby, was always super involved, and he's such a great production manager that he always managed to balance the needs of the crew and the artists even. I always thought that was, just the essence of a really good production manager. So he would work intensely with the band before we would go into production rehearsals, so that when they hit the stage, they knew exactly what they were doing. They had already built a set list, and they knew what they were all about. So it was all just about learning to move around the stage. So it was usually either the stage manager, Ethan, or I that, would point out little intricacies in the stage, watch that, don't go there, blah, blah, blah. And they were always just, like so cool about, yeah, sure, whatever, And of course, then they would start pushing the envelope a little bit. And by the end of the tour, it was all out the window, But they were just such great people to work with, because they never really pushed too hard in rehearsals. I've done rehearsals with bands where you're in a venue for 20 hours straight, just over and over and over, and they just never really felt like they wanted to push the crew that hard.
Yeah.
They were always really prepared.
And speaking about the technical stuff, I remember in Romania, the keyboard of Mike Shinoda stopped during New Divide, and it was like a sound like da, and that's how it was for like about a minute. And then you guys took it away, brought the new one, and they decided on the spot to do A Place for My Head, if I remember well. and that was very intense. And in the Linkin Park Underground, I believe there's a video of the crowd singing "You Try to Take the Best of Me," and it was like Chester doubled it, and it was like huge. What a moment! So from a technical difficulty, that's how a very beautiful moment was born.
And their backline technicians were always so uh, like the production manager Jim always insisted on double and triple backups for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we were able to pull that system, which is really intense. You know, I mean, there are a lot of things that are connected to his keyboard that need to be there for a reason. And so to replace that in, you know, like a minute or two or however long it took, not easy, not easy at all, you know, but we always seemed to pull it off. And they were always so good about, you know, being able to cover. And then the bands, of course, just closed the whole loop. So, yeah.
And another
it was so cool to be a part of.
Yes, and a big shout out to Pooch for the sound. I've never ever went home from a Linkin Park concert deaf. It was perfect. and I totally felt it and enjoyed it. The sound was so super good. Intense but not harmful in any way.
Yeah. So Pooch and Tater are the most amazing team.
Sound team, yeah.
Together, what they do is just incredible. We did a show in Mexico City, and Ethan could not be there, so I was stage managing and being Carpenter too. The sound company, we had advanced the sound, and they had one side of the side hang from one company and one from another company, and we're like 2 hours from doors, and
That's right.
the systems aren't speaking to each other. They aren't communicating. And I'm like, you know, I got to get barricade out. I got to get chairs. There's a lot of stuff still to do. And how they managed to pull that off, I'll never get. But they did it, and it was amazing. And yeah, it's crazy. We did a show in Australia, and who was playing? I think it was U2. Yeah, it was U2. Jay-Z opened up for him, and we got free passes. So it was at the stadium. We went to see the show for free. We knew some people on the crew, and we got seats way up in the nosebleeds, but whatever. Jay-Z opened, and it was pretty good. And then U2 came on, and I've got pictures of people with their fingers in their ears. I mean, it was horrible. It was so bad. I lasted 4 songs, I think, and I was out of there.
Oh my goodness.
And I just so appreciate the professionalism and the talent of those two together, you know. Yes. Especially after that. I mean, that guy must be getting paid $10,000 a show or something, and he totally blew it.
Yeah.
Totally blew it.
It happens. I once been to a YouTube show. I was actually assisting the production management in Berlin, and it went smooth over there. But these kind of things happen, unfortunately. Yeah, probably was.
Yeah, but the way that they were able to bring, you know, even in Bucharest, that wasn't the easiest venue because it's very open, you know. So to fill a field like that properly, it takes talent, it takes skill, you know. So I always really appreciated those two.
Yeah.
They're a pair too.
Do you have a special memory from Romania, from back in the day of that show?
I remember the hotel was amazing. There were usually 3 or 4 very pretty girls in the lobby, but my favorite memory was linking up with you after the show.
Yes. I gotta say that Sam is the very first roadie that I got in touch with and that actually paid attention to me. I was just a little girl, and anyone else could easily confuse me as just a simple fan over there. But I was more than that because I knew what I wanted to do in life. I had a passion, a big passion, and followed that passion and worked for it tirelessly. And Sam was the first one
You
to.
already had this idea for Backstagers back then.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Because actually, this whole thing, Backstagers.ro, the website, I bought it in 2013. So it was 1 year after Linkin Park. And actually, Linkin Park were the ones who helped me choose a career. From back in the day, when I was 11, it was like crazy.
So
I just
cool.
followed the whole dream and worked
I'm so
tirelessly.
proud of you.
Thank you
I'm
so
so
much.
proud of you
And
because I've watched you,
I'm
like
super grateful to you.
dabble in, yeah, I've watched you dabble in different parts of the industry, but you've always felt this really strong connection, which every fan does, And I think Chester and Mike were really passionate about acknowledging that in
Mm-hmm.
fans and encouraging that because they were there
Exactly.
at one time.
They,
They were those guys.
they saw themselves in us.
And then they got to be, yeah. So I'm so proud that you chose to pursue this so diligently and pull it off.
Yeah.
Very proud of you.
Thank you so much, Sam, and thanks for your trust. And also, I still have all the guitar picks that you gave to me at every show that we would meet, even if he was backstage or front row, or he would have something in his pocket and pull it out for me, or the set list, and that those are memories that I keep so well.
Those things, they mean so much to fans, though. I mean, I would always put a pocket full of set lists in my pocket. And
As a touring professional, I had some very few experiences so far, but I would like to know from you, how do you get over the depression, post tour depression? How do you keep sane after you come home?
that's a great question. There is a short period of time for me always uh, for my family to reconnect because my wife, while I was gone, would have to take care of not only the house and dogs and my son, but the bills. She was going to school to become a nurse, which she's since become. So she had a lot of stuff going on while I was out touring.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you come home from like every night, every other night, amazing 30, 50,000 fan venues that are just jam packed, and there's all this noise and adrenaline and lights, um, and you come back to your quiet little home, and it's an effort for me to plug back in with my wife and my son because they have to carry themselves in a certain way while I'm gone. That changes or has to change when I come home to make space for me. So it's difficult. It's not something that you just walk right back into. There's definitely work that goes into it, and a lot of it is based in our ability to communicate with each other. If we're not communicating our needs and our feelings, then things are not going to go well. So it's been an effort, and after Chester died,
I feel you, buddy.
it was really hard.
I know. I know.
It was hard.
I know.
And, you know, So, yeah, I, of course, continued to tour. And, that thing just kept happening where I have to reconnect with my family. And my son got sick, and I stopped touring.
Mm-hmm.
And I have ever since been home. I do like really short tours, one-offs we call them. But for the most part, I've stopped touring because he kind of got involved with drugs. And so we've worked very hard together, my wife and I
know.
to help him through.
I know, and you're doing a great job.
And it's been great.
I didn't want to go into the family stuff, but if you open the discussion, I gotta say that you're doing a really, really good job. And stopping touring right now when he needed you the most is the best you could do. And I believe that you do.
Well, yeah. What happened was we were asked to go to LA to the funeral. And so I went and took Briggs with me because he knew Chester, of course. And things quickly, we drove there and we made, like a cool trip out of it. But he identified with so many different aspects of Chester's life, with Chester's struggle with addiction, with being molested, with a lot of different aspects of Chester's life were lining up with Briggs' life.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's
then it just kind of fell apart for Briggs. It escalated. And that's when my wife and I made the decision for me to come home and take care of him. And, for the last 6 months, he's been exactly where he needs to be. And he's healthy now. And he's happy and he's clean. And he's such a beautiful boy. I can't believe we made that kid. But
yes, he is.
He's so bright and full of life now. It's we were in a very dark place 6 months ago, and now everything is better. So just really happy that things lined up the way they did.
Yeah. I believe that Chester's mission in this world, besides the music and everything, was to inspire people to follow in their steps, but also he keeps changing destinies and changes direction, as Talinda has the foundation named. He keeps changing our destinies and helping people just like your child to be back on the good track, let's say. And I
totally believe that.
That was his destiny, to inspire us and to heal many of us. And for all this love that he gave to the world, I'm 100% sure that he's now in a good place and smiling.
It's amazing. I got to see a different side of their fan base when he passed away, because a lot of my friends that are fans from LP Underground and, all the fans that I'd met over the years reached out, and I got back in touch with each and every one of them individually, made a point of it, because it's so important to recognize, the pain or the suffering or the grief of other people, and not just, like gloss over it and send a sad face emoji or something like that. So what I found was just amazing in that, their fans totally came together and did what they were supposed to do in Chester's eyes. And it was just incredible. And then Briggs got really sick and started hurting himself and got more into drugs, and we had to put him in this treatment center that was so expensive, crazy. And all the fans sent money, you know. It was incredible. I mean, whether it was $2 or $200, some of my roadie friends were sending $500 donations, and it was just so heartfelt, you know. But that was all from them. That was all from them.
Sam, that's why we are called LinkinPark family. We are a family, and we are there to support each other for good and for worse.
I always felt that.
And somehow this answers to the first question of this chat. That was why fans do stay loyal to bands like Linkin Park, and especially to Linkin Park, because they are there with the heart and the soul for us, like so transparently and clear for everyone to see.
Oh yeah, yeah. Their summits were always great events. I always loved to be a part of those, and their meet and greets were, you know, they were genuine. They were real. Mm-hmm. You see the meet and greets that some artists offer now, and they're so cold and impersonal.
We are back. We were discussing of the power of LinkinPark family and how Chester changed destinies and how it changed everything for Sam and his family. And probably, I'm sure that Briggs will have a future bright in front of him. And that's because you and Michelle are such great parents who sacrifice everything for him. And he is loved by so many, and he has a global family behind him to support. So that's something he never has to forget. And what can I say, Sam? I'm so thankful to you for joining us today. I hope to see you soon somewhere in this world and to hug you tight. Because you are
that would be so cool.
Such a kind heart.
I'm so proud of you for chasing, you know, your dream and pulling this all off. And I just wish you that success. And to all the Linkin Park fans, just know that we're all still family. You know, eventually, I hope that one day they will all get back together. Of course, it won't be the same without Chester, but, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely missed that crazy group of people and the crews that went with it. But mostly the fans, you know, it was always such a treat to go into the barricade with a camera and point it at you guys and watch you react, you know,
and taking selfies.
I miss that.
Photos.
Yeah, I just so miss that, you know. It was, like I say, the best part of my day. That camera definitely got heavy after about an hour, so I was always looking forward to the end of the show, an hour in. But the interaction with the fans was always so amazing, and that I remained friends with so many of them, and that they rallied around my wife and I when Briggs got sick, and to see them all come together when, you know, Chester died, it was just such a great testament to, you know, the power of their fan base and how important it was for them, you know, and ultimately for us as fans. So exactly. Thanks for doing this, Diana.
Thank you. I have no words to say to you and to all the crew of Linkin Park and to the boys and to the fan base. You are part of my life. I don't know my life without Linkin Park in it, because that's how I discovered them when I was 11, and I practically grew up with listening to them and being part of my everyday dream and plan. And motivation actually, and that's something I call luck from above because it guided us somehow and it helped us connect in such a beautiful and global family. So thank you so much, Sam, for joining us today. I look forward to meet you and all the best and keep up the faith. I know that this is hard times for everyone in the music industry and not only with the pandemic and the lack of events, but I believe that we should take advantage somehow of this time and rest and charge our batteries because when everything will be back, we won't have time probably to sleep.
No, it'll be back to the same energy level it was before. But you're right. We all work very hard in this industry, so we should appreciate this great pause that I call it for what it is. A chance to recharge and reconnect with one another and give Mother Earth a chance to breathe and get her balance back.
Oh, yes.
So
if she's breathing, we are breathing, so we should take care of her first.
Yeah, important.
Yeah, essential, I could say. Okay. Thank you, Sammy. I wish you a good day ahead and a good weekend. And say hi to Michelle and to Briggs for us. And to Michelle, thanks for what she's doing right now because she's in the first line fighting with this virus. She's a great woman, just like you.
Diana.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.